Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I know you saw it. A couple of weeks ago, SpaceX's Starship launched for the second time. I covered its first launch back in April, and this was the second go-around. And yes, there was an RUD at the end, but all the way around, it went a lot better in a variety of ways. And the photos and videos from this launch have been amazing. Like, chef's kiss, high fives, all the way around. So today, let's take a look at Starship launch part 2 and all of its pretty pictures and see what we learned. So on Saturday, November 18th at 8:03 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the nearly 400-foot tall Starship rocket launched for the second time ever, lifting off from the SpaceX's Starbase facility in Boca Chica, Texas. The rocket blasted off smoothly without hurtling huge chunks of debris from the launch pad, like it did back in April, and this time all 33 Raptor engines worked, whereas 6 hadn't fired properly in the April launch. And I gotta say, these photos of all the Raptor engines working, capital G, gorgeous. Starship then successfully separated from the Super Heavy booster. Again, an improvement from last April when the stack failed to separate and began to tumble. SpaceX said that this was the first time this technique has been done successfully with a vehicle of this size. Then, after stage separation, the upper stage Starship vehicle reached an altitude of 91 miles, above the 62-mile boundary of space, which was also good and made this Starship vehicle the very first to reach outer space. But this time, after stage separation, the booster detonated over the Gulf of Mexico rather than making a controlled landing. Then, near the end of the second stage burn, but before engine cutoff, an unknown issue triggered the Starship spacecraft's automated termination system, exploding it. SpaceX Mission Control then announced it had lost contact with the rocket.
Don Innsbrucker back here in Hawthorne at our webcast desk. We have lost the data from the second stage. We had heard a call out that we were internal guidance, which means we were getting near the end of the approximately 6-minute burn of Starship, but we haven't gotten any more data since then. So we think we may have lost the second stage.
But even that went kind of well. During the April flight, there was a delay between the termination system's activation and the actual explosion. This time, the self-destruct system worked correctly. So, yay. A weird yay, but yay. The FAA is required to oversee SpaceX's mishap investigation to make sure that the launch and explosion hasn't created any environmental or safety concerns. Immediately following the test, the agency released a statement saying the anomaly resulted in the loss of the vehicle. No injuries or public property damage have been reported. The FAA will oversee the SpaceX-led mishap investigation to ensure SpaceX complies with its FAA-approved mishap investigation plan and other regulatory requirements. And overall, people seemed pretty pleased. Laura Forzik, an Atlanta-based space industry consultant, said, "I thought it was a fantastic partial success and really good progress forward. It got some milestones accomplished that needed to happen. Not only SpaceX, but also NASA, which is SpaceX's most important customer, was pleased with the results." And she seemed correct. As Bill Nelson posted on Twitter, "Spaceflight is a bold adventure, demanding a can-do spirit and daring innovation. Today's test is an opportunity to learn. Then fly again. Together, NASA and SpaceX will return humanity to the moon, Mars, and beyond." I don't know if I've read a quote from Bill Nelson in the past year that doesn't include the word beyond. That guy loves that word. And yes, NASA and SpaceX are still very much in business together. NASA has tapped SpaceX for its first 2 moon landings, big contracts worth more than $4 billion for the Artemis 3 and Artemis 4 missions. These will involve bringing astronauts to the moon's surface in 2026 and 2028. And after the April test flight, the FAA did a similar investigation that took almost 5 months to complete and resulted in the FAA listing 63 issues that SpaceX had to address before Starship could fly again. That included redesigning vehicle hardware to prevent leaks and fires, redesigning the launch pad to increase its robustness, because we all saw these photos, and testing safety systems. The new launch infrastructure then necessitated a review by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to study potential effects on the habitats of threatened or endangered species in the area, which include birds and sea turtles. And then, after all of that, the FAA granted the launch license for Starship's second flight. According to the FAA, SpaceX's new application for another launch license will have to address environmental concerns, which could include assessing whether or not a new water-cooled flame deflector system worked as well as it was supposed to. The system is meant to flush hundreds of gallons of water through steel plates to limit debris and noise pollution without releasing water contaminated with metals. Elon posted on Twitter that no refurbishment was needed and everything looked great to him from the launch pad. But I think we're probably going to double check that. One of the biggest takeaways of this launch was SpaceX successfully implementing a hot stage separation. In hot staging, the booster throttles down its engines and the upper stage begins igniting its engines just before, not after, breaking away. That gives the upper stage an extra boost and thereby a small extra payload capacity while reducing the complexity of stage separation. But the exhaust from the upper stage needs to escape while it's still attached to the booster, and engine fire from Starship could damage the booster as well. SpaceX said on its website that Starship successfully executed hot staging, with the upper stage's 6 Raptor engines successfully firing right before it disconnected.
Booster engine cut off. Stage separation.
Boost bank startup.
And as you can tell, people on the ground were very excited about that hot stage separation. SpaceX appears to be targeting early 2024 for its third test flight. Musk wrote on Twitter that the Starship flight hardware would be ready to go in as little as 3 to 4 weeks. Once again, the goal will be to fly almost completely around the world, re-enter the atmosphere, and splash down near Hawaii. And this goal is essential to achieve before we can even think about putting people aboard. While returning from Earth orbit is one thing, safely bringing back astronauts from the moon is another. A lunar voyage involves faster re-entry speeds and a spacecraft that can handle hotter temperatures. And each Artemis mission will require SpaceX to launch many Starships. The plan will be to send up almost 20 of them, each carrying fuel to fill a propellant depot in Earth orbit. A modified lander version of the spacecraft would then use the depot to fill its tanks and head to its lunar landing spot. So as you can see, SpaceX's plans for Starship are hugely ambitious. So while clearly progress is being made, SpaceX engineers have their work cut out for them to make sure that this rocket is safe for crewed flights with NASA and other private partners. But if they keep giving me footage like this, I, for one, am happy to keep watching until they crack it. Okay, that's it for now. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did this launch go how you expected it? Does it feel like progress? Too slow? Too fast? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.